Greetings, everyone. Greetings, and welcome to Progressive Discussions. Yes, this is Progressive Discussions, and it happens to be Saturday, February 18th, 2012. It is a very mild February 18th because we're having an unusually and unnaturally mild winter. It's sunny and clear and nice out, but who knows what would happen tonight. We're coming from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey, and I am your host for Progressive Discussions, James P. Madonna, and I am here with my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you feeling today, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Well, before, I want to excuse the noise in the background because our staff is having another one of their meetings here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center.
Gab session.
Yeah, right.
Gab session.
Here is me prop. It is an imported Blackthorn Irish Shillelagh, imported from Ireland. It helps me emphasize certain things. I enjoy swinging it around like a gavel. Okay. It is authentic weapons grade. Anyway, I just want to say that, you know, it's actually a very sad day because a native New Jersey woman, a very famous woman, of course, the whole world knows, Whitney Houston, died prematurely, and I was watching her funeral at the Baptist church, which she grew up, which she attended, her family attended, her home church in Newark, New Jersey, which is approximately, the funeral, I would say, is approximately maybe 20 or 30 minutes south of where we are located now. And, you know, she was from New Jersey, Newark and East Orange, and, you know, I could go on and on and on about what led up to her premature early death, but all I have to say is, Dr. Bill, in my opinion, she was one of the greatest, if not the greatest female singer of all times in history. That's my opinion. I would say she is number one, was number one. And for a girl that came from such a strong Christian church-going background, I wonder if her life started to take a spiral downward with the substance abuse when she started dating Bobby Brown.
They say he introduced her to the
drugs. Because I heard rumors that her family is not too crazy about Mr. Brown.
No.
Well, all I know is in the Sicilian family, when somebody messes up one of our young ladies in our family, we take care of business. You could take that any way you want, world, but hook or by crook, justice will be served.
Meatball by meatball.
That's right. Now, as far as going after whatever pharmacists, drug companies, doctors, every narcotic, every prescription drug that you acquire, that you get from your pharmacist, it comes with a list of details, do's and don'ts, warnings,
side effects,
contraindicative drug interactions, what you should take it with. Don't take it with this. Don't eat this particular type of food. Don't take it with alcohol. Don't drive operate machinery. Heavy machinery, whatever. Hey,
that means do not go out and run a steamroller.
Listen, Doc, a chainsaw is not necessarily heavy machinery, but you better not be taking anything that makes you drowsy.
Could be, you know, it's not hard to pick up.
Right, but I'm saying you don't take anything that makes you drowsy. So you get warnings, and with Xanax, which is Aprazolam, the generic name, which was one of the drugs that she was taking, and she was mixing it with a lot of alcohol, from what I understand. It comes with warnings, a huge list. Now, adults are expected to read it and abide by it, but maybe, but I blame the physicians monitoring their celebrity and superstar patients more closely. I mean, look at Elvis Presley and what is that? Amy Whitehouse, was that her name?
Winehouse.
And the list goes on and on and on.
The only time, though, that a doctor is going to monitor his patients that are celebrities is if he, is not a businessman, and he says, "Hey, well, you don't listen to me and my advice. Bye, bye."
Yeah, but I would not.
They don't do that because they're big payers.
If I knew that the drug was being abused, I would not prescribe it as a physician. I think they have a responsibility.
They do, but obviously
patients.
when they become a businessman, the responsibilities and the Hippocratic Oath goes out the window.
And people go out the window too? Even human lives? Well, they should be held accountable.
In a material world, human lives have no price.
In the devil's world.
Yeah, material world. They have no price.
Well, like I said before, every adult is responsible for reading the warnings when they get a drug. But I think that there was something missing from her life, or I don't know what it is. Maybe these individuals, when they become a superstar and they happen to be young, maybe it's too overwhelming for them. Maybe they're under a lot of pressure from their family. Maybe the damn agents or record companies they're overbooking them and they're running them ragged to complete exhaustion.
But
I mean, it could be a lot of maybes here. I don't know.
What is the explanation for wanting to be out of control? Because that's what occurs when you are drug taking. You become out of control. That is with your body and your mind.
That's true.
So what is that? From whence comes that urge to be like somebody, in a corner of a subway, puking and shitting pissing all over the place, and seizuring from, overdosing or whatever? What is that urge? What is that attraction?
What motivates a person who has everything, who is very wealthy and famous, even though supposedly $100 million of her money got pissed away or squandered away, and supposedly she sued her own father, and the list goes on and on. But what makes somebody who has everything, the looks, the super talent, the money, the fame, what possesses them to go on a self-destructive road? Like, what possesses them to do that? They know by mixing excessive amounts of alcohol and narcotics there's going to be trouble. Just like people who get high. Look at that Amy Winehouse. She was a rebel. She didn't listen to any interventions. So, it's like a self-destructive road, but you're on top of the world. So if you're on top of the world, why be self-destructive if you have everything? Something's missing. Maybe it's spiritual. Maybe it's Satan. Maybe Satan was working through Bobby Brown to get to tear down Whitney Houston because she had a very good church Christian background. Maybe there's many possibilities.
Yeah,
here.
but a person would supposedly. See, this thing occurs in the Republican Party.
Oh, plenty of demons there.
The hypocrisy that's involved.
Right,
If you're calling yourself a good Christian.
Yeah.
Well, self-destruction is certainly not on your agenda.
No.
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 So, how can those things coincide? Those two things coincide. They can't.
Well, it was a very touching and star-studded, and it was a very lovely.
It's still going on.
It's still going on. The choir was outstanding. The sermonizing, the speeches by the celebrities, and I want to salute the pastors for giving beautiful speeches and sermons. The pastors of the Baptist Church, excellent job. A lot of people from the neighborhood that knew the family were not allowed to get close to the church. It's sad, but I understand why, because of the magnitude of the celebrities and stars that were attending that funeral. But it's very sad to see the casket there, and I was always, a huge fan, and I heard some people came from other countries to pay their respects, and, she's a native New Jersey woman, and from not too far away from us, and, you know what I mean? It's just a tragedy. So anyway, I don't want to, let's get off of it for a moment. Conservative corporatists, I believe, are speeding up the Great Tribulation, are accelerating the time frame leading up to the Great Tribulation, because the more conservative corporatists get voted in by the foolish lemmings, the middle class that are fooled and are possibly stupid and possibly too lazy to do their own research, and they listen to the political conservative lies, and they vote Republican. So the more of these Republicans get in, the faster the time frame is leading up to the Great Tribulation.
I believe I wrote that on my blog when George Bush was elected.
Yeah, because
something to that effect.
Because they are not, even though they tell you they're close to God, and that progressive liberals are a bunch of sinners, are wicked. They are farthest from the God of the Bible, and they do not know the God of the Bible, simply because right-wing fundamentalist conservative Republicans, everything they preach is anti-God of the Bible. They're against helping the poor. They have no compassion for the poor. They don't believe in helping the poor and the needy at all. They cut social programs. They don't care if people are homeless. They don't. They make sure that the rich do not pay any taxes and do not help the poor. They believe in deregulating corporations so they can rob you and lie to you and cheat you and deceive you, and pollute the earth. They don't care about the planet. They don't care about the environment, because everything's about the bottom line, money. So they are the tools of Satan in the end times.
They are working from within to destroy the United States.
You heard it. You heard it. So I think that's what I believe, that when you hear about the white horse of the apocalypse, the false church, the false prophets, this is representative.
Plenty of those.
There's a lot of them. Whether they be money-grubbing TV, phony, counterfeit Christian TV evangelists,
or the big church.
Or the mega churches, like your Pat Robertsons.
I'm talking about the mega church.
The mega churches.
Church.
The
Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, that one.
The big boy. Oh, actually, in the Bible, it's a big girl.
Well, the Bishop of New York, Egan, Mr. Egan, was promoted to cardinal.
Cardinal?
Not the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm talking about the Vatican.
So does he chirp now?
Up in the treetop all day long. Chirp. Remember that song, Rockin' Robin?
Rockin' Robin, yeah.
Tweedly tweet, Rockin' Robin. No, he's a cardinal. He's not like Stan Musial. No, he's not St. Louis Cardinal. He's a cardinal in the Vatican. He wears the yarmulke, the red yarmulke. And
by the way, speaking of death,
which means he's one step before being elected Pope.
Popey, yeah. Speaking of death,
yeah.
You did not mention Mr. Gary Carter.
Gary Carter of the beloved Gary Carter of the New York Mets, the '86 World Series Mets.
No, before that, they began in '62.
Montreal Expos. Gary Carter. He went into the Hall of Fame as a Montreal Expo. Mr. Gary Carter was very
traded then, right?
Yes, they're very well loved, and he was.
Did he start with the Mets in '62, or
no?
Montreal.
He went into the Hall of Fame as a Montreal Expo. Okay. Gary Carter was with, I believe, the '86 Mets when they beat when they came from behind as underdogs, and they beat the Boston Red Sox. Remember the era of Bill Buckner's era, first baseman,
between his legs,
where the ball went between his legs. But that wasn't Carter that hit that. Carter had put a man on base, had started the rally towards the end. But anyway, Gary Carter, the poor guy, died of brain cancer.
Wow.
What a cancer to have, too. Jeez, unbelievable. Anyway, rest in peace, Gary Carter, Hall of Famer. Okay, now, as far as, before we start with probably at least one article before lunch, because we got a late start. So you agree. So a conservative, right-wing Republicans, the more we have in control of, in Washington, we control the country, the more corporations will control the United States, which means the more evil will come upon the United States and the world, because, you know, corporatists in America want to colonize the world. They want to steal everybody's wealth, yeah, and natural resources and oil and everything else. Global plutocracy is the ultimate objective of the right-wing Republicans. Global plutocracy. But I have, Dr. Bill, I have more and more people online telling me that they are convinced that the entire two-party system is corrupt and in bed with elitists.
Correct.
That they are all corporatists.
Correct.
And I've been saying that right along, but people are starting to wake up.
Where do they get their money?
From corporations. You mean campaign contributions?
Money.
From corporations?
Well, there you go. So if you're getting your money from your corporations, then you have to adhere to them.
Ipso facto ergo, right?
Right.
Okay, let's start with well, you know what this means? This means wake up, America. Do your research. Don't be lazy. Study. Realize who you're voting for and what they represent, and always prove all things. Hold fast that which is good, which is in Thessalonians in the Bible. You know, don't just vote for somebody because you hear something on primetime TV. I mean, they got money behind them to put a lot of political ads. And the media in the United States doesn't help either, because they're always sticking the microphone in front of conservatives. I have yet to see them interview in length a progressive liberal.
Well, that's why Dr. Bill, myself, speaking in the third person,
yeah,
is not interested in stump speeches and glad handing
and
kissing baby,
photo ops,
and all of this crap. You want to know about me? You read 34 years of the newsletter.
Subscribe to the newsletter, newslettercensored.com. The best way to be a part of this organization. But I'll be talking about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So why bother with that stuff? So that's why the campaign doesn't deal with that. The campaign doesn't deal with money. The campaign deals with you coming to the website, reading all about it, and then telling 10 other people to come to the website.
Exactly.
And they tell 10, and they tell 10. And that's how to get money out of politics.
Like networking.
And that's how to get out slavery to corporations, out of politics.
Oh yeah, the only way to get corruption out of politics is you need to get the money out of politics. Dr. Gary Null mentions that all the time. And I'm very happy that Dr. Gary Null has been posting his video shows from Ustream right on his Progressive Radio Network profile. Excellent job. It makes it convenient to see all of Dr. Gary Null's programs, important programs, all on one web page. All right, continue. First article.
Religious freedom is neither a conservative or liberal issue, a party issue, or a true financial issue. It is a moral issue. Morality doesn't come from any state. It cannot be taken away by any state. Moral conscience comes from our Creator and is embedded in each of us. In the United States, we have religious freedom as a right to follow our moral consciences. This is the real issue. There are those who say women are the unfortunate victims of this controversy of religious freedom. Only women? Aren't men in this equation? Reproductive processes are normal physiology, not health problems. This controversy on insurance coverage of certain medical procedures is a moral one for both men and women. unless both have developed moral consciences. Promiscuity, adultery, pornography, prostitution, abortion, contraception, and venereal diseases prevail. Society becomes the true victim. The Catholic Church, divine in origin,
You know what a woman said at the Vatican when after Cardinal Egan gave his speech in Italian? She said that with a big smile on her face, like the Cheshire Cat, she says, "The Catholic Church, the Vatican, is truly the what is it? The cradle or the center of Christianity." Representative of Christianity, is truly the representative, the primary representative of Christianity, and she had a big grin on her face.
Yeah, well, it tries to be that, but it killed all the saints, or most of them.
Mm-hmm.
It killed 50 million people trying to convert them by the sword.
True.
Anybody forget about the Inquisition? Divine in origin. Goes back to whatchamacallit, Magus. Simon Magus.
Magus?
Yeah. It did everything it could to obliterate the original church that Jesus started.
Right.
And it's divine in origin. But humanly imperfect. Is a hospital for morally sick people? Communism tried to make Jews and Christians extinct by forcing people to turn to atheism. It collapsed. It didn't have anything to do with its atheism, why it collapsed. It was strangled to death economically.
Right.
Religion survived. Nazism tried to eradicate Jews and gypsies and homosexuals, political enemies and the infirm. It collapsed. Religion survived. The healthcare reforms will eventually collapse. Religious freedom is what keeps societies moral, while preventing Big Brother from infringing on or forcing compromise of moral values. The reform needs to be repealed and restructured with fresh vision, if at all. Of course, he's talking about the Catholic Church, your employers. Whatever your employer is supposed to pay with your insurance coverage for contraception or abortion if you need it.
It's a woman's right.
But the Catholic Church doesn't want to do that.
It's her body. It's a woman's right.
But no, it's a war on religion to them.
Now, the right-wing fundamentalist conservatives, they don't believe in, they might not. Well, the extreme right-wingers may not believe in contraception. I know they're against abortion, but they might not like contraception.
No, they don't.
But what do they hate more? What do they dislike more? Contraception or supporting all of these babies born to unwed mothers?
Both.
Poor mothers.
Both.
They dislike both.
They dislike both. They dislike any child that is grown. They only love the fetus and the embryo.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Once you're born, like
hell with you.
Like that George Carlin, that old classic George Carlin video.
Yeah, he's got it right.
They don't give a shit about you when you're born.
That's
Conservatives, They only care about what's in the womb.
That's it. But it goes back to the fact that they want control. That's what it really is.
It's about power.
Yeah, power. They want control over your mind. They want control over a woman's body. They want control over this, that, and the other thing. Control, 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 control.
So the obsession with the bottom line, with money, the real underlying objective is power. Is control. They just do it through money.
If you go back in history and you just look at the witch times in this country.
The Salem witch hunts?
It's very clear what they wanted. The control.
They wanted control.
They even amongst themselves, amongst the Protestants or something. If one sect took power in an area, they didn't want another sect to come in.
Now, do you see how human nature is? The Puritans left England because of persecution. Then when
they got here and got power, they persecuted.
Then when they settled in Massachusetts, landed on Plymouth Rock, settled in Massachusetts, got help from the Indians, from the Native Americans, learned from the Native Americans, and then screwed the Native Americans as their reward.
Yeah.
Then when they established themselves, the Puritans, persecuted others once they got in power. So the vileness, the wickedness, the shortcomings of human nature. You see how it repeats itself?
Yeah.
Once you're on the bottom, help me, oh, I'm persecuted. Everybody's picking on me, and then as soon as you rise to a high standard, then you do the same.
You do the picking.
They get corrupted, and they do the same thing. Persecuting, picking, bigotry,
Now, our first immigration problem in this country was obviously that the Native Americans did not have a wall.
Excuse me?
They allowed us in.
If I knew how to
needed a wall, like the wall down there in Mexico,
If I knew how to,
if
I had a time capsule and I knew how to speak Native American languages, I would go back and warn them all. If you see these,
ships coming,
these pale-faced, bearded white men coming over on very large Spanish galleon wooden ships on horseback.
No, before that, talking about Plymouth Rock,
attack them,
Jamestown.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the real wicked son of a bitch, the Spanish conquistadors from Spain.
Well, yeah, but that was.
And they had a representative of the Catholic. They had a representative of the Catholic Church with them when they stole everything from Native Americans.
Everything was done under the cross.
And guess what? A company found sunken treasure, Spanish galleon with gold coins and treasure.
I think it's platinum.
In Colombian waters, South American, Colombian waters. And you know what? By Colombian law, it's probably this way with many countries. If you find a sunken ship with treasure in their waters, not international waters, but in their waters, you're supposed to give a certain percentage to that country because the waters belong to them. Well, the company took everything, lock, stock, and barrel, and sent it to Spain. After all the crap that the Spaniards did to the New World, all the atrocities, sent all the coins to Spain and stiffed the Colombian government for the percentage. And this is in court right now. But you see the European colonization mentality. I think all the corruption in Latin America historically comes from the Spaniards, because all the British colonies are very civilized and well educated, and you don't hear any scandals from any of the British colonies.
Well, the only scandal in that sort of situation is the fact that they are in charge. They colonized. They don't belong there.
And the British colonies did not come with a representative from the Catholic Church.
That too.
There was no conversion to Catholicism by the sword with the British. So maybe there's a connection here, my friend. White horse of the apocalypse, the false prophets, the false church, the Spaniards.
The false church. Read Revelation 17. It shows you right there.
Holy Roman Empire, the Catholic Church, the Spaniards, the conquistadors. There's a tie-in here. All right. Are you finished with that? All right, we're going to take a break. It's time for his gastronomic delight known as lunch. But, it's great to be here, but it's also sad because of Whitney Houston, premature death. But anyway, we'll see you in a bit. We are back. We are back. My partner, co-host and mentor, is partaking in his gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by high green tea, and I will do promo. This gentleman next to me is that you see every week. This is a self-portrait of my mentor and co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. He has many fine watercolor paintings, and he usually produces them on a continuous basis, on a continuous routine, I would say. You try to actually, very rarely are you not involved in a watercolor painting project. You're usually starting a new one as soon as you finish with one. Generally, very rarely do I see you, take
unless I have a lot of reading to do.
Take a hiatus, but yeah, because he reads.
Which has happened lately.
He has a lot of studying to do as part of the research center with himself and his knowledge gnomes, which are his people, his spies, researchers. Anyway, you can see the William J. Eisenman fine collection of watercolor art by going to Google and typing in YouTube and William J. Eisenman collection. And if it doesn't come up, you can type in Megalife 21 also, and it'll come up. And it's on. It's a slideshow to Caribbean steel drum music, or you can go to newslettercensor.com, or you can go to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile, and if you see something you like, send him an email and see if it's available, and you can purchase it. The bidding usually starts at $500 each, but make him a good offer. And it's an original watercolor painting. It's signed by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman himself, and they're beautiful watercolor paintings. Now, I wanted to talk about something that's relatively new. We put it on the internet last night to experiment with it. Me and my team took all of the hardest hitting anti-conservative right-wing Republican political satire, banners, cartoons, and whatever, with clever sayings on them, all conservative bashing material for 2012, which includes some of the Republicans that are running currently for president, and we put them into a slideshow. We put them into a slideshow, and it happens to be on the internet, and it's called Stop the GOP Greedy Old Party 2012 Part 1, because we're continuously finding new cartoons and banners and what have you. So then eventually there will be a Stop the GOP Greedy Old Party Part 2. Part 1 is on there. Very clever. If you notice that you do not hear any theme songs or any music on our videos any longer, it's not because we want to do it that way. We apologize for not having any music. Well, we simply don't have it because of these very annoying...
The RIAA.
The copyright infringement laws with
the big boys.
The greedy son of a... Oh, fuck the big boys. The greedy... Whatever. The record companies with their lawyers... They're nitpicky. They're so greedy that even if you use a classical song, which is public domain, okay, and somebody happened to play it. Let's say somebody who's a great violinist happened to play Bach, one of Bach's work, or maybe a Mozart. Do you know that there is a certain type of copyright that they have on it? It's not the same as if you write the song, but there is some kind of a third-party copyright that may or may not be brought to court.
Never heard of it.
It's ridiculous. You know, YouTube sends out this third-party notice. If you have it's bullshit. If you have a classical song that you're using on your video, that's public domain. But no, you get this third-party notice from YouTube. Well, it just made me bonkers completely. I've got sick and tired of it. Copyright this, copyright that. You know what? Fuck them. The whole world, the whole capitalist world has become so greedy. It's unbelievable. You know, worse than Eugene Krabs on SpongeBob. Mm-hmm. They pinch a penny so hard both head and tails are on the same side. But anyway, let me get right to the backbone of this organization. This is it. The very best way to be a part of this organization is to get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. There is more information in this newsletter than there is on our talk shows or on our websites. This is the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? So go to newslettercensored.com to join our organization. This is the way to do it. Go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to the flagship, the backbone of our organization, Newsletter Censored. Okay? You need Newsletter Censored. We are living in the end times. And you need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative and to be informed, because you're not going to hear or read anything like this in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. You're not going to find anything like Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored. And this is the end times. So it contains many things. You have the political reading. This is the new edition. Was it volume 118, Without Natural Affection by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. And it's followed by sometimes tidbits, you know, current news topics if there's room. But then it's followed by The God Project by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. And then it's followed by Sexuality, a Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. So get your free annual subscription right now with your gift to support this work. This is the backbone of what we do. This is it. Newsletter Censored. Okay. Hear and read what you're not going to hear from the mainstream media. If you go online, you can, or you know, from our radio station, you can also listen to at any time, 24/7, over and over again, as many times as you want. Censored on Demand, Archive Classics, and the God Project on Demand. Okay, and all the Censoreds and God Projects that have been done in the past are now on video for you to listen to from YouTube. Just go to Google and type in Censored on Demand, Archive Classics, or type in the God Project on Demand. Okay, if that doesn't come up, type in Megalife 21, and it should come up. So it's great. We just click on it and listen to it, and you can pause it if you have to go get a snack or go to the bathroom, or if you're a guy and you got a chickie poo visiting you and you get interrupted by something, you just pause it and you go back to it. It's beautiful. It's all there, man. But check out the new one. Stop the GOP, the Greedy Old Party, 2012, Part 1. It's a lot of hard-hitting stuff in there. All right, and stuff about, you know, things about Newt Gingrich and Rick the Sanitarium Crazy Religious Zealot Nut Santorum, and Mitt Romney. There's a lot of satiric political anti-right-wing bashing there. Be good. Check it out. All right. Let me make myself useful. When you're ready, I'll clean up a little. Oh man, there's nothing like this antioxidant-rich tea I'm drinking. You know, I added a new tea, Dr. Bill. I found it. Believe it or not, it's I checked the website. It's called olivetreasures.com. It's from Israel. It's an Israeli tea, and I found it in my favorite dollar store. Lo and behold, it contains a few different varieties of mint. One of them is Jerusalem mint. It contains olive leaf, which is hard to find. It contains an herb called hyssop, which I think is mentioned in the Bible.
Yes, it is.
It contains pomegranate, which is probably also mentioned. Antioxidant-rich fruit, very, and yeah, it looks pretty good. So this one's called, I think it's called Jerusalem mint. But anyway, it's got it has a bunch of stuff in it, and so I mixed it with the noni tea and the green tea with jasmine. The jasmine green tea.
Flowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Yeah, jasmine in your mind. Yeah, and I put a little lemon juice concentrate because there's something about the ingredients of lemon juice, the acidic environment, but particularly lemons, that extract and bring out the antioxidant power of green tea. So always try, if you're drinking any tea, whether it be white tea, which happens to be antiviral and antibacterial. White tea it's all from the same plant. White tea is from the top of the tea bush, the flowering bud, which is picked only in the springtime. But it has a higher ORAC score, and it also has powerful antiviral and antibacterial properties. But regardless what tea you drink, oolong tea would be semi-fermented green tea. Green tea would be totally unfermented. Black tea is totally fermented, but it all comes from the same plant, evergreen bush. But add some lemon now, or a bag of lemon zinger by Celestial Seasonings. Okay, now get back to the articles. I just want to say again, it's a sad day because of Whitney Houston's funeral, but the turnout was outstanding, star-studded turnout, and it was quite an event today, and I think it's still going on, even though I missed a lot of it. I just saw the beginning, and that's it. All right, continue.
Birth control is a moral issue, not something the government should decide. True. President Obama is offering a compromise to something that should never have been decided by him in the first place.
You said compromise. Is that the same as bipartisanship?
President Obama said that the Catholic Church did not have to pay for those things, abortion and contraception. The insurance company would have to pay for them. For the Catholic Church's employees.
Employees?
Yes.
Well, because the employees need health insurance. Well, they should have it.
Well, yes, but the Catholic Church did not want to be told that they had to provide health insurance which had those clauses in it. Abortion and contraception. They did not wish to provide those things for their employees because they feel that those things are taking away new souls for God.
New souls?
Yeah.
What if the new souls are dirt poor? Who's going to support them?
They don't care. They don't care!
Well, it's not their extra babies that have to be raised. I mean, they're not
They want the babies, when they want the parents and the babies or whatever, come into the church and throw the moolah into the tithe box or whatever, basket or however they collect it.
Plus, they want them to be fruitful and multiply, even if they don't have a pot to piss in, the people, right?
And I'll bet you,
yeah,
that they would rather, or that they do, commingle the funds from the poor box to the basket.
So everything ends up in their basket?
Yeah.
Their basket.
Yeah.
Now, does anything in their basket end up helping the poor in any way?
No, that's what I just said. They commingle the funds from both things, so the poor get shafted.
Oh, like what Chris Christie does to people in New Jersey.
Yeah.
The poor.
Mr. Christie does that a lot.
Yeah, like depriving the poor of basic necessities.
Well, not only the poor. He also is right now depriving minorities of rights. Because he has vetoed.
Okay, I'm listening.
The gay marriage bill.
Well, historically, right-wing conservative Republicans have always, been gay bashers and anti-immigration and in some ways anti-minority.
Anti-rights.
Anti-rights.
Yeah.
They don't want people to be independent free thinkers, and they want, and now now what they're doing is they want to privatize education completely, which means that only the rich kids will get a good, complete education, and the poor kids, and possibly the middle class kids who can't afford it will be dumbed down.
That's correct, and become slaves of corporations.
And end up becoming slaves to corporations.
That's correct.
Slaves to corporations.
Right now, I believe it's last year, workers lost 1% in their pay, wages, whatever, and the big boys gained 1% in productivity. So in other words, workers are working harder for the boss and getting less for it. Now that's been going on for almost 30 years. But, oh my goodness, we should not raise taxes on the job creators, those who have been on vacation for the last 30 years, but in recent memory, the last 12 years with the Bush tax cuts. And where are the jobs? And where is our economy? If tax cuts create the great, big, flourishing economy.
It's a lie. It's
we
bullshit.
have reality right before us. 12 years of reality. How is this dismissed?
Listen, I knew some of the Democrats, some of the Blue Dog Democrats, were sellouts when the public option to health care came right off the table. And, hold on. Oh, sorry. It's a little dust. When the public option to health care, to Obamacare, came right off the table, this was way back, and also some of the Democrats voted against stopping the tax. They voted for extending the tax cuts for the rich.
Returning it to its original.
Yeah, they voted for extending the tax cuts to the rich. Some of the Democrats did this. The Blue Dog Democrats. So, Democrats are supposed to, when they run for office, they try to get the votes of the middle class and the low-income people and the poor. And then apparently...
And promised us crumbs.
Crumbs, well...
we never get the crumbs anymore.
Yeah, but now you don't get the crumbs, so they get elected, and they don't want a public option. They want to privatize everything, these Democrats, these particular Democrats. Privatize everything. They want your health care to be controlled by insurance companies, which means you won't get any health care. And they want to take... and they don't want the rich to be taxed, which means the rich are probably paying off the Democrats, some of the Democrats. campaign contributions or just flat out payoffs. So anyway, continue.
Pregnancies occur at the pleasure of the participants.
Pleasure?
If they are pro-choice,
Pleasure.
then that's the choice they made. And they should be responsible for the consequences.
How is listening to screaming at 3 a.m. in the morning every night considered
Those
pleasure?
are consequences.
Consider pleasure. I'm not interested in becoming a parent. But I don't know, man. They call it a bundle of joy, or what do they call having babies? Bundle of joy, or
It's a gift from God.
A joy.
It's a blessing.
A blessing.
Yes.
To hear wah wah screaming and tantrums and okay.
Abortions, birth control pills, and contraceptives should not be tied in any way to funding for mammograms or any other tests needed for the welfare of women. It is none of the government's business if Catholics use contraceptives, and should have no bearing on who should fund birth control. Why aren't men held responsible for the unwanted babies? Contraceptives work for them as well. If they can afford $10 a pack for cigarettes, then they can afford contraceptives.
They shouldn't be smoking.
Obama's compromise is not free. It's ludicrous to think insurance companies or employees are going to fund this excuse for irresponsible sex without passing the cost on to the workers and taxpayers.
Oh, by the way, is a vasectomy reversible?
Yes, it is,
It is.
from my understanding.
Is it a simple procedure?
Relatively speaking.
In other words, it's not a.
It is, when you get it, it is an office procedure.
It's an inpatient. It's not an out. It's an outpatient rather.
It's an outpatient.
It's an outpatient
procedure, yeah.
done by a urologist.
Yes, I would assume.
Okay.
To justify aborting millions of babies because it costs more to cure for an unwanted baby is absolutely unthinkable, and a shameful example of government reasoning. In supporting all American men, our government is doing all it can by offering free birth control to all women. All the Romeos will no longer have worries when one-nighters end up in pregnancies.
Well, all the men that I know, they all complain about using a condom. They say they don't have the same feel. They don't have the sensitivity during sex with the raincoat. So everybody I know is complaining about the raincoats.
Well, yeah, but this gentleman,
Even the thin ones are not perfect.
this gentleman's focus is on abortions, and contraception creates promiscuity.
People are gonna
and sex.
Hormones create promiscuity and sex, and they always did since the beginning of time, and they always will, and including with kids. They're going to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to do it, and I'm sure these right-wing conservatives do it. They just don't. They keep it hidden.
They don't do it well.
They don't do it well, but they don't, of course, but they don't let people know they do it. They're hiding something. Anybody who talks a lot of shit and speaks the loudest and acts the most holier than thou is hiding heavy-duty skeletons in their closet. That's what I think. You know what the best contraception is? I want to take a shot in the dark.
Crossing the woman's legs?
No. No. If a woman is physically able to tolerate it, it is called the copper IUD. It is non-hormonal. And it's a tiny little gadget, very small. And it's installed. It sounds like a Sears and Roebuck. It's implanted, by a gynecologist. And it stays in there for 12 years, I think. It's good for 12 years. Now, the one that has hormones in it, that they're always advertising, because naturally they have to advertise the one with the hormones because the pharmaceutical industry is involved. You see, you get bombarded with that. So they never mention the copper IUD. They mentioned the one with the hormones. That's only good for, I think, a few years, or half that amount.
Well, they say you should not keep something like that in there for a long time because, that the action, the way that prevents pregnancy is that it abrades the wall of the uterus.
You mean
so that the cell cannot implant? So
damage? You mean? Well, there are risks.
There are risks, exactly.
Abrasion. When you say abrades, you mean abrasion.
Yeah, like a scraping.
A scraping. Irritates.
An irritation of some sort.
No, well, they should.
And that may lead to cancer. You never know.
Well, why don't they come out with one that doesn't irritate the walls of a woman's uterus? Well, why do they always have to wait for problems? But anyway, the good thing about it is you don't have to worry about condoms. If you're in a monogamous relationship, supposedly, and the guy's clean and the girl's clean, you could knock yourself out. You don't have to worry about pulling out or taking hormone. A woman doesn't have to worry about taking birth control pills, which is a hormone, which has many negative side effects. Bad side effects, and it will blow her up and make her fat because it is a steroid, but it's not 100%. It doesn't protect against sexually transmitted diseases, obviously, because you're going bareback. But you have to, like I say, you have to supposedly know your partner well. You have to hopefully know your partner well. All right, continue.
Women can have any new birth control system approved by the FDA, and it won't cost them a cent. The government will so thoroughly medicate them that they can serve the demands of any pleasure-seeking guy and never worry.
Pleasure-seeking guy?
See?
Like women
don't... this guy's coming from?
So women don't seek pleasure?
Once in a while, there might be a slip, but the government has anticipated that.
Oh, man.
There's a pill that will keep women childless.
Excuse me.
If they are overly cautious, the government can fix it so they can be childless forever.
Of
Again,
course.
No charge.
Of course they have to push the pill. Here comes the drug company again. I'm sure the drug company contributes to politicians. Often.
I would say always.
Yeah. Well, these pills are most likely hormones, which come with very bad negative side effects. And, by the way, Dr. Bill, there's been plenty of articles concerning the evil Monsanto and genetically modified
let's hope it has some impact.
Produce, yeah.
Because right now they're loaded with it. 70% of soy, practically all of corn, and who knows what else are already GMO.
Oh, it's more than about corn and soy.
Yeah.
It's more.
So they got a leg up, baby.
And there are side effects, negative side effects, with the consumption of genetically modified produce.
One would think that this would have been thought about before.
I mean, just think about it. It's unnatural. Just like taking a drug from a pharmaceutical company, it is unnatural. It was not meant to be. So when you put something in your body that was not naturally meant to be, something negative is bound to happen.
And drugs are blocking agents. Whereas vitamins and minerals and nutraceuticals and herbs are just flew out of my mind. But they don't block things. They enable. They're enablers of things.
Yes, that's true.
If allowed to resist health mandates and employment law, the Catholic Church could open a door for other religions and organizations of any stripe to do likewise. Some will continue to insist that the health mandate restricts religious freedom. It probably does, for a lot of employed people who do not want the dogma of different religions imposed upon them. President Obama's recent accommodation that provides insurer funding for contraceptives removes the argument of restricting religious freedom without depriving women of the right to better control their lives and well-being. Equally important, it does not open any doors for resisting health and constitutional mandates. And speaking of one of our two senators in New Jersey, Senator Lautenberg, accurately portrays the interaction of this law with religious sensibilities. However, there is one aspect of this article that made me pause. All health insurance plans will be required to cover contraception with no additional cost or copay. Does this mean that no insurance premiums will increase? And that the insurance companies will absorb the total cost from existing premiums? Or will everyone's premium rise to cover the cost of providing contraception without a copay? For a copay of $50 a month, this translates to $600 per year per woman using contraception. A quick calculation: if the roughly 40 million women who use contraception are currently subject to this copay, that is a net cost of $24 billion. So this will cost no money? I don't object to spreading this cost among everyone who pays for health insurance. But please don't say there is no additional cost.
Yeah.
Well, the fact of the matter is, these things like contraception and abortion should have already been written into all policies. All policies
Absolutely.
that have already been negotiated as to price. The insurance companies get away with murder. Not figuratively speaking, literally.
Well, back in the day, if you had a pre-existing illness, you did not get insurance.
That's correct.
Or
but now, if they don't want to pay for you any longer, they just get rid of you also.
Right, like if you filed a tad bit too many claims, they would give you the axe.
Yeah.
This is the deregulated under deregulated Republican control. They were allowed to grab your premiums, but when it comes time for you to submit a claim, just like with the auto insurance here in New Jersey, it's another bunch of crooks.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. As soon as you submit the claim, if they didn't like the claim,
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened here with the floods.
one reason or another.
Flood insurance don't want to pay for the floods.
You mean the hurricane?
Well, what the hell did you buy the insurance for?
You're talking about Hurricane Irene, when Hurricane Irene hit New Jersey, and Chris Christie went around hugging senior citizens and kissing babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you he wouldn't have been able to. I bet you if he was riding around in one of them boats, it would have sunk.
Yeah, you would need like a big icebreaker kind of a boat. You think if if Chris Christie was a riverboat gambler on the Mississippi River, you think that the boat would have stood afloat, or
I don't think so.
you think it would have capsized?
I think it would have capsized when he started going up the ramp.
I think the chair would have broke to a million splinters when he would sit down to play poker. I can picture him wearing dressed in black, you know, being some desperado dude, you know, trying to cheat at poker.
Ooh. Bart Maverick.
I would say if they wanted to bring back Remember Frank Cannon? Remember William Conrad played Frank Cannon. I don't know who came up with that idea, because he couldn't run fast.
No, he had to have a partner.
Yeah, he couldn't catch any criminals.
How about the other ones? What was the one with
Chris Christie would make it.
Bruce Willis and the chick there? They were detectives or whatever.
Bruce Willis.
He had to do all the physical work.
Oh man, what was it?
Moonlight.
Moonstruck. Moonlight. No.
Moon something. It wasn't Moonstruck. That was Cher.
Yeah, that was Cher and Nicolas Cage and Vincent Gardenia. What the hell was her name? She was a model. Cheryl.
And then Hunter. Remember Hunter? And the girl that worked beside him?
Yeah, I remember Macmillan and Wife. I remember McLeod. You know, we used to order a glass of milk at the bar, Buddy Epson. With Jedediah was his nephew, I think. And that was Lee Merriweather, the second Catwoman on the Batman series. A former Miss America, I think. Lee Merriweather was his secretary. What the hell is that woman's name? Oh, God. Anyway,
in any event, I agree wholeheartedly with Lautenberg.
I do too.
And I think anybody with an ounce of common sense would too. If a female employee did not wish to use birth control offered by an employer, then that would be her choice. I am perplexed that some politicians think they have the right to decide what a woman should do because of the politician's religion. In addition, I believe if men were able to bear children, we would never be having this kind of discussion. I'm sure the same policies, if they had the ability to do so, that would deny contraception and abortion, would not deny Viagra.
Isn't it better to have no pregnancies than to have unwanted pregnancies?
Absolutely.
Especially in a poor family.
But because we don't educate young ladies.
Look what Catholicism's attitude.
Because that's bad. If you educate and give them sexual education in high school or whatever, they will become promiscuous.
Look what the anti-contraceptive attitude from the Catholic Church does to certain Latin American countries like Central America, where these poor families have large amounts of children,
which they can't afford.
Which they can't afford. They can't even afford to take care of themselves, and they follow the rules of the church, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense
because it's that garbage that comes from these right wings' mouth all the time. That's what it is. We want you to do what we say because we are moral and we know what rules you should follow.
They're moral?
Yes.
Oh, like Newt Gingrich wanting a menage a trois with his former wife, a threesome, an open marriage, and then now he's preaching. Oh, America needs a moral compass now.
He admits that he was wrong, and he was forgiven by God because he has a stovepipe to God, and they spoke about this issue, and God forgave him.
Yeah, but was he preaching about morality back then?
No. That's what I'm saying, but he's forgiven now. So that's all on water under the bridge.
All right. That's cool with me.
Water under the bridge, baby.
That's because he's running in 2012. But look, if these people never got caught,
God, they'd be still doing the same old crap.
Same thing with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, or the other politician that used to go on the cabin cruiser a lot. What was his name?
Oh yes. Hart.
Yeah.
Hart.
Yeah, Gary Hart was it?
Gary Hart.
If they never got caught with their hand in a cookie jar, so to speak, would they continue to do the dastardly deeds?
Yes.
I say yes. Then they get caught, and then they're remorseful, and the crocodile tears start flowing.
Like Jimmy Swaggart.
like Jim Swagger. I have sinned.
And now he's back.
Lust is bad. Lust is bad. Meanwhile, he's collecting them donations. Yeah. He's crying the crocodile tears, and he's picking up hookers. He continued to pick up hookers on the street. Lust is bad.
I was around 15 years old when my social consciousness was raised. I remember reading the following statement describing the distinct difference between the two political parties. Republicans are looking to get into your bedroom, while Democrats are looking to get into the boardroom.
They want to get into the bedroom to film your sex so they could sell it?
To tell you what to do and what not to do.
I think they would end up filming and sell the amateur sex to make a buck, because all they care about is money, Republicans.
Now, some 40 years later, this statement holds true. Republicans in Congress have decided to wage yet another culture war on women and the decisions we make regarding our reproductive health care. As a woman, I am outraged. In this election year, Republicans continue to offer unpopular ideas to govern, thus resorting to looking for red meat to divide and conquer. Since churches are exempt from providing birth control coverage to their workers, the argument that they must pay for such coverage just doesn't float. However, Catholic schools and universities receiving federal funds are not and should not be exempt. This position is nothing new. Several states have laws requiring the same. Religious freedom is not under attack. Women's rights are.
Women's rights are under attack.
Bravo.
You know what?
She's correct.
That is true. Now, one last article. Do we have a hard-hitting article, perhaps connected to?
Well, let's say
connected to Santorum or Chris Christie or something hard-hitting, something like, really.
Well, I got a hard-hitting
recent, right?
But let's see what Mr. Christie's up to here.
That's his There's no Santorum.
No Santorum.
But Santorum is really has become like the
Tim
Tebow of politics, right?
Here's something interesting, though.
Yeah.
A third grader who weighs more than 200 pounds has been placed in foster care after social workers said his mother was not doing enough to control his weight. The Plain Dealer reports the 8-year-old is considered at risk for such diseases as diabetes and hypertension. Nobody took Christie away from his mother and father.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Speaking of Mr. Christie, a jobs training bill for unemployed residents is unlikely to survive Governor Christie's veto pen so long as New Jersey's revenue collections continue to sag.
Oh boy.
Christie threatened to veto even a scaled-back version of Assembly Speaker Sheila Oliver's jobs bill that moved through the Assembly Labor Committee because it would cost $3 million that hasn't been budgeted. $3 million.
$3 million.
But he didn't say nothing when he gave the tax cuts to his biggie boys.
Oh, well, that's never on the table.
Yeah.
Taxing the rich is never on the table.
But a lousy $3 million to create jobs, that's a boogie-boo. The legislature likes to spend money, Christie said. We are simply not spending money in a supplemental way. The jobs measure establishes a program for residents to receive training from employers while collecting unemployed benefits. The bill allows people to work up to 24 hours a week for a maximum of 6 weeks for a prospective employer who will soon be hiring for the position. It also provides up to $100 per week to defray the training costs, including transportation and child care. The bill Christie vetoed appropriated $10 million for the same program. This is an innovative program that will allow out-of-work New Jerseyans to develop the new skills they need and keep them tethered to the workplace instead of the unemployment.
Yeah, where's the jobs? Where are the jobs, Chris Christie? Keep them tethered.
Well, Oliver and a Democrat said, it's just the kind of program we need to tackle this recession.
Oh, sure.
And help workers and businesses alike to jumpstart our economy and move our state forward.
You know how many people come out of technical school paid by a workforce program thinking that the career is in demand because the government website says that the particular career is in demand, and then they graduate and there's no jobs. So that whole concept, the idea about retraining America.
Well, this is but you're being retrained. You're being trained here by an employer who is expected to hire you at the end of your training. That's a big difference.
Okay, that's good. Now, are the job duties explained to you, and the
You're
salary?
trained at them.
And the salary, you know ahead of time what your job duties are going to be, and what your salary is going to
Absolutely.
be. All right, that sounds better.
That's exactly right. But the thing that's better or not, the cost is cheap. The unemployment rate in New Jersey right now is 9.1%.
And that's just New Jersey.
New Jersey. So, you know.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. And well,
what are you going to do? Just sit around with the,
Well,
that's what Republicans do.
Like you said, the outsourced jobs will never come back to the United States.
Correct.
They're gone. Forget about them. Manufacturing, maybe all those customer service jobs that have been outsourced to, like the Philippines or whatever, gone, right? They're not coming back.
Gone.
But when corporate America, who loves to outsource because they're so cheap and greedy, when they bring their product back into the United States, tariff. Tariff the hell out of them.
Not only that,
and make the rich pay take on the tax burden again.
I don't know if it's a burden. I don't understand why people think
it's not a burden. It's not a burden. To the rich, it's not a burden. But they.
What's 91% a burden? They live through it.
But they bitch and moan like it is a burden.
It's only 35% now.
Big deal. It used to be
That's 1/3 of 91%.
It was 91% during Truman and Eisenhower.
And they remained rich.
And they remain rich. Well,
so
that's
what the hell's the problem?
Are they that greedy and obsessed with money that
they're sick?
It's like, damn, you pay a higher tax rate, you're still a millionaire or a billionaire. What's the big deal?
Exactly.
I mean, the big deal is they care more about the numbers in their bank account than they do about the well-being of this country and the plight of the poor. They have no compassion.
I don't even know if it's that. All I know is it is I want you to pay, not me. That's what it is.
Everybody seems to be saying that in America. Everybody has an agenda, and everybody wants to pass the blame and the solution to every problem onto somebody else's lap. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to. They make the middle class pay, but the middle class are becoming poor.
Well, that's why, because they're paying.
The middle class there's no jobs. The people are getting laid off. They're losing their homes to foreclosure. They're ending up living in tent cities. You know, I was talking to right in front of the store in town, department store. There's a couple of gentlemen collecting charity, a fundraiser for homeless veterans in the United States. They're two vets, and they. I was talking to them. I should have asked them if they would like to be interviewed and go online, but they were telling me they know all about how Washington really works, and about the elitists and the fat cats and the whole bit, the rich not paying taxes, and they agree no American, especially a veteran, should be living in a tent in America. It's despicable. And we had a long talk, and it seems like a very legitimate charity, and these guys know what they're talking about, and they were wearing their military
dress
fatigues, whatever, camouflage, and they told me us veterans got screwed.
No shit.
They don't care about us. They don't respect us. They don't appreciate us, and it's despicable, you know. And it's money to help homeless veterans. Can't think of a more worthy cause, and you know, sad situation. I mean, I guess. I mean, what else could you say? I mean, they use people in America, basically. They use people that are not elitists. I'm sure the children of the rich and the politicians do not get to go to war. You know, that's how it is in the feudalistic capitalist society. You know. So. Are you gazing at a small article that you want to bang out, or you want to?
Small one, yeah.
Okay.
I had more to say on that issue.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
summarize
it all amounts to the same thing. It amounts to those who do not want to pay. They want to extract the pay from those that don't have, and it's not the way the tax system was set up in this country, and it's not an example of morality, and it's not an example of Christianity. It's none of those things, and yet it has legs. It has supporters.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? These people should be laughed off the stage of humanity. But yet they have supporters. They get tax cuts. They get this, that, and the other thing.
I don't know. People got to wake up in America, and you got to get behind a progressive, liberal, independent candidate, but we don't have any. That's the problem. So, then.
Well, actually, we have 6 or 7 people running for the same office.
But the media doesn't.
Which are progressive.
But
nobody knows about them.
But nobody knows about them.
You know, Rocky Anderson, Gene Stein, Dr. Bill.
Yeah, that's right. Dr.
Some
Bill,
others.
Dr. Bill for president for the 3rd time. But the thing is, the American media doesn't give any of the independents a chance for Americans.
Look what they do with the Republicans. They don't give the floor to Paul or whoever goes now. Gingrich is behind, so you know he's getting less coverage now. So it's just Santorum and the Mitten. Hey, you know, Mitt was named after the shape of the state of Michigan. Because it looks like a mitt.
What stupid fucks. His parents actually... You kidding me?
No, seriously.
His parents... Did you ever hear Mitt Romney sing?
Yes, he sang America.
Well, he's way off key. He's horrible. He should not sing anymore during his campaign.
He had to show his Christianity roots.
Christianity roots?
Mr. Mormon.
Well, he sounds horrible. I never heard a worse singer than him. Mitt, the shape of the state of Michigan. Interesting. I didn't think Michigan had Mormons.
Ah.
He's from Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And he how did he end up in Massachusetts?
Who knows?
Maybe he liked the shape of Massachusetts. It looked like a potholder or something. I don't know. Maybe his parents they moved to states that depending on the shape of it.
Well, I saw something that was it on Facebook yesterday?
Oh man.
Someone, Mitt Romney. I think it was a cartoon or something. Mitt Romney, because of the shape of Michigan, and then there was someone else whose name is in the shape of Florida.
That's the shape of a dick.
Exactly.
Florida is in the shape of a penis.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
don't ask me who it was.
I think peninsula comes from the word, a Latin word, penis.
So does penalty and penal. They all come from penis.
Really?
You see. So obviously, some time ago, bad stuff, criminal stuff, was attributed to sex also. You know? Penal institution. Penalty.
The origin of modern day words are fascinating in the English language.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it today. Some of the words don't mean what they started out to mean.
Exactly.
Anymore.
Exactly. Well, you said you had a small one there?
I guess it's small.
Relative.
Roughly 1 in every 25 adolescents in the United States are taking antidepressants.
Getting back to the issue on pharmaceuticals, prescription drugs, and the abuse of such narcotics and drugs.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Wednesday reported the figure for kids ages 12 to 17. It's based on surveys and depression screenings of about 12,000 U.S. adolescents. The study found about 1 in every 10 adults takes the antidepressants, and perhaps more should. The researchers said only 1/3 of people in the study with symptoms of depression were taking medication. The findings suggest that there's a lot of people who are seriously ill who aren't getting treated. Curiously, rates of antidepressant use were about the same in different income groups, even though earlier research had shown higher rates of depression among the poor.
Okay. That should do it.
Women take antidepressants more than men. Whites use them more than blacks or Mexican Americans.
Yeah, because they have the health insurance, they have the prescription plan to pay for it.
Also,
that's why whites.
More than 60% of Americans taking antidepressants have been taking a medication 2 years or longer. And 14% have been taking such a drug for 10 years or more.
10 years? You know, what weren't all of the tragedies where
yes, they were all drug related,
where teenagers acquired guns and started shooting up their classmates?
Correct.
In
Columbine, etc.
Columbine, weren't they on like Zoloft or Paxil?
Yep.
Antidepressants. Prozac.
Yes. I'm sure there's something on Gary Null's website to that effect.
Oh yeah, there is a pattern.
Yes.
There is a pattern, and there we go again. The U.S. drug companies. Money, money, money. Food industry, American food industry, with all the poisons, all the chemicals.
Yes, now there's arsenic in brown rice.
Well, I get brown rice from Thailand. I get brown jasmine rice from Thailand. I do not buy American produce, especially.
We don't know what it's in everything.
Genetically modified American produce. Yeah.
Back when Mr. G.W. Bush
applesauce, arsenic
was in office.
I mean apple juice. Yeah.
The amounts allowed in things was raised. So now the FDA, of course, says, well, there's not enough in there to harm you.
Oh, sure. There we go with deregulation with Republicans. G.W. Bush allowed them to add the crap, to increase the poisons.
Well, not add. It's already there.
To increase.
So they just raised the limits.
They raised the limits. Right. They found.
Make it look better.
They found arsenic in apple juice, and the list goes on and on and on. Deregulation. There's a pattern here, folks. Deregulation with Republicans in power.
Yes.
Wake up.
The corporations can police themselves.
You know, people are programmed to bitch and moan and put all the blame on Obama and Democrats. The conservative propaganda of tax and spend, liberals are to blame. People are still marching in lockstep like robots.
They have forgotten the 8 years of Bush, the 12 years of his tax cuts. They have forgotten this conveniently. It's all Obama's fault now.
They're going on and on.
It's all his fault.
Like broken records, like parrots. They're repeating all these lies, all these phony baloney conservative propaganda lies, and well, the beginning of the Tea Party, they had a valid point. Yes, the middle class is unfairly or has been unfairly carrying the tax burden. Without a doubt, that is true. But the blames, the reason for all this is not progressive liberals or the Democratic Party. It is the mindset of conservatives, and it could involve some Democrats. Corporatism, corruption, money, the whole thing, the whole mess.
The whole Megillah.
The whole Megillah. Maybe the only hope is the second coming of Christ.
That's what the Bible says.
And people, what about these flag-waving conservatives that are always posting these patriotic Yankee Doodle Dandy images and information on the internet like God is on the side of capitalist America? They're so sure of that.
Where is their flag waving and love for their enemies? As Christ told them.
Well, what about, aside from that, what about the colonization of certain parts of the world for monetary gain, and they're fighting? Okay, the war on terror, that's one thing, but I'm talking about sending troops in. Like, I was watching some program, I think it was called, I forget, it's like The Ultimate Warrior, where they pit history's famous warriors against one against another, and this was the U.S. Army Rangers against the North Koreans, who is this special elite group of North Koreans, who is the best soldier, and the U.S. Army Rangers, some of the enemies that they consider enemies do not appear to be true enemies. It's almost like if it prevents the United States from going in and taking people's oil-rich land away from them, they consider these people an enemy. Well, you know what? Some people do not want to be occupied, my friend. And they do not want their oil-rich land taken from them.
Well, they just have to learn that it's our oil, not theirs.
Yeah, well, and then you have...
Iraq didn't learn that lesson too well.
And then you have the police or the National Guard or the military that is possibly getting ready to manhandle the protesting, desperate, angry American citizens, the Occupy movement. Don't they realize where they came from?
Mr. Obama signed a law the other day which now calls them people terrorists, and they can be handled in any way he deems possible.
A person protesting against the elitists, the corporations, is a terrorist?
A PETA person now,
That's right.
if he would go into the chicken coops that they did when they took the pictures of the chickens bunched together in cages, dead ones, and etc., etc.
It's cruelty.
They are now that.
What about
It is all to prevent us from learning what the big corporations are doing behind our backs. That's what it amounts to.
So it is part.
Gestapo.
It is part of the corporate plutocracy control that they want, the fascism of corporate plutocracy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We're regressing to feudalistic times, it seems like.
Well, we're regressing to a time when they want to dumb down us all so we don't know anything. And then they can get away with whatever they want.
If they want to feed us poison, if they want to
Soylent Green?
if they want to
Anyone?
if they want to feed us pink slime in our beef, if they want to feed us animals loaded with steroids and antibiotics,
We should eat it and say nothing
if,
about it.
if they want to feed us supermarket foods that are loaded with toxins,
More power to it.
if we have compassion for the mistreatment of animals, we can't have that. We have to allow it. Compassion for the poor, but hey, man, it's not a good situation coming up. It is not a good situation. How does the 1% end up
It's not really 1%.
Controlling so much?
It's more like 30%.
30%? 30%. Okay, and you know
They
what?
got it by breaks all these years.
And all
From the 80s.
the military personnel, the police, and the National Guard, they come from a middle class or low income background.
Yeah.
So I honestly I don't know why they don't just all mutiny and say, hey, we're not going to go against our people.
They're prevented from that by this great big propaganda campaign that's been waged for how many years here now from the right wing.
Yeah, so they're roughing up the poor and
Divide and conquer.
they're fighting for the elitists, and they don't get paid that much. The military personnel, maybe the cops do, but
A military person this week coming back from Afghanistan is now telling the truth about what's going on over there, and that it's garbage. We can't win, and it's just selling weapons and killing people and corrupting the government over Kabul, Karzai or whatever. It's all a bunch of baloney.
It's war profiteering.
War profiteering, etc.
Okay, sad situation. Wake up, America. Thank you for joining us for this week's Progressive Discussions. I believe it's Progressive Discussions number 107, if I'm not mistaken.
I've lost count.
I think that's what it is. And but the sad part is we are living in the end times, and the United States is not blessed by God. It's under a curse because of Bible prophecy, and of course the untimely passing away of Whitney Houston. And so it's not a very happy Progressive Discussions, but a happy point is that next month will be St. Patrick's Day, which means I will be stuffing myself with all-you-can-eat corned beef, brisket, and cabbage. And I will not eat the boiled potato because it will fill me up and will prevent me from consuming more corned beef brisket. Believe me, and when I order a Guinness Stout or a Yinling, I will nurse it so I can eat longer and longer and enjoy more.
However,
and they won't make any money off of me.
However,
And I don't care. Yes.
the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, those guys drink along with it. I don't know how. And then they end up eating 35 hot dogs or whatever.
Do they have
Plus the buns.
Do they have to eat? I was going to ask you. Do they have to eat the bun?
Yeah.
The white bread?
Yeah.
You know what annoys me? A Man versus Food on the Travel Channel. Mr. Adam Richman. He eats this crap and doesn't realize that when they put French fried potatoes in the sandwich or in the food, He doesn't realize it's filler, and it's done that purposely. They purposely put the French fries in so they give you less meat.
Yeah.
It's a ripoff. And when he does the eating contest, they pile in a lot of these French fries, and he's bragging about. He's a kiss ass. He sucks up to every restaurant owner he performs at, and he's like, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is wonderful," and he's making all kinds of funny faces. Meanwhile, it's filler. The French fries are filler, and they do it on purpose. And by the way, Adam Richman, American cheese. He keeps on saying American cheese, patriotic. American cheese is not real cheese. It is processed cheese food. It is cheese-like, but it is not real, natural cheese. It is crap. It is processed. I will not eat American cheese or Velveeta or any of that crap. I think one of the Philly, a couple of the famous Philly cheesesteak places
Whiz, cheese
in
whiz.
that uses Velveeta or Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
That's not real cheese. He is a
what they
kiss ass. Anybody who pays Adam Richman the bucks to have that TV show, he'll say anything. He'll say wonderful things about every place. But it's filler. They stuff the white potatoes in there. It's filler. Thank you for joining us for Progressive Discussion. Say so long to these people.
So long, people.
All right. It's been truly
Marvelous.
invigorating, and also sad, but invigorating to say the least.